Premier was described as a strong woman and devoted mother who wanted the best for her kids, but her kids were her life, and she put up a fight. Eventually, Premier would win the custody battle in court and move her and her kids for a better life. After healing from the situation, she regained her strength and didn't let that stop her from finding love again. She met an army chef named Sean Lane. Sean Lane. Sean Lane. Sean Lane. Sean Lane.
She healed from the situation and found love again. She had a beautiful soul. Her kids were her lights. She was a strong woman. Ah. The narrator, whom you heard give this opening eulogy for the death of a woman named Crimea, is a gentleman who goes by the name of Tony Two Times TV. Much like many of these pro-liberal platforms, he fell into this vague abyss of feminist bias for the sake of satanic employment. I gotta throw that in there as well because he gets a check to speak lies. He said she was a strong woman. What is a strong woman? He said her kids were her light. That's idolatry. Christ is the light. A strong woman is a subjective statement. What you perceive to be a strong woman, I may describe as Jezebel. These platforms who report on tragedy, particularly in the black community, often you hear them say she was a beacon of light, she had a beautiful soul. What does it mean to have a beautiful soul? This woman was wicked, and I'll waste no time telling you the hard truth. Call that devil a liar. Foolish talk like this does nothing to help the black community. The truth is, she put herself before her husband, before her kids, and even before her boyfriend. Okay? And I'll explain moving forward. Welcome to Fates and Gates. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Also, click on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. Thank you for supporting truth. Let's get back to it.
We'll be taking it to Frederick County, Maryland, to discuss a case of a man accused of breaking into his ex-wife's home, taking her and her boyfriend's life. In August of this year, 33-year-old Cremia Baker was what a lot of people would consider a survivor. Let's rewind back so we can see why. In her early 20s, she fell in love with a man named David Turner. David swept the young lady off her feet, and they would soon have their first child together, get married, and welcome two more. Like most, at first the marriage started off good, but after years, Cremia started seeing signs in David from him allegedly being verbally and physically abusive. And by 2017, the young lady had built up enough strength to file for a divorce. But struggling financially without David's help, he took it upon himself and took the kids without telling Cremia. She had no idea where he was going. She would go into a deep depression, feeling defeated until she put her pride to the side and started a GoFundMe to help hire an attorney to get her kids back.
He said she built up enough strength to file a divorce because he was physically and verbally abusive to her, allegedly. Okay. Now, this is the second episode of one of my trademark series, which I titled The Spirit of Jealousy, Fatality, which I'll reiterate according to Numbers chapter 5, describing how a man becomes jealous of his wife, whether or not she has defiled herself. So, when this man was being verbally and physically abusive, he had a spirit of jealousy on him because he could discern that she would eventually be unfaithful to him. Okay? Again, we're looking at fruit because she didn't have to move on to another man when she separated from him. Okay? So I'll parallel the situation for those of you who saw the first episode of this series, in which the man only saw a video of his wife dancing her vagina near the crotch of another man before he did the unthinkable and took her life. This man, David Turner, had far more concrete evidence before he took his wife's life. Okay? Now, I'm not suggesting what he did was righteous. I'm just giving you more details than what has been presented in this biased presentation from Tony Two Times TV. Okay, first of all, she put their business public and started a GoFundMe so she could get custody of the kids. Why did she do that? Well, she would have to pay child support if he got custody because she's the one who filed for divorce. But because we live under a matriarchal kingdom, she didn't need the best attorney to get custody and maybe even put him on child support. Then she moves on to another man and has his baby so the world can see. I mean, this is just selfishness. Okay, typically with the modern liberal woman, her complaints about her husband, it'll start off with something like, "You don't support my dreams." And meanwhile, she's dreaming about the next man's penis. You cannot divorce and remarry without cause. Irreconcilable differences is not a reason to divorce. Verbal abuse may be cause for separation, but not divorce, and physical abuse as well. Okay? If he is doing so, then let her remain unmarried. That's what the scriptures say. Okay? It was not about her dreams or being a strong woman, a survivor of domestic violence. It's about jumping onto the next man's penis and garnishing the last man's wages. All right? This is why the body count of a woman is so important to inquire about when you're seeking marriage. Now, I'm sure she had a body count even before her first husband, because the second man, she didn't even marry him. And the body of a woman and bearing children is the best thing she could ever give to a man. So in this case, I believe had that man have got custody of them kids, Crimea would still be alive today, her and her boyfriend. Okay, you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments if you agree that she would be alive today, her and her boyfriend, had he got custody of them kids. She pushed this man over the edge. Okay, he already had that spirit of jealousy. Okay, that's a deadly spirit. Okay, the fruit of that spirit is death. Whenever you see death, then most likely is a spirit of jealousy. Okay, especially in male and female relationships. Okay, even if they're not legally married, may I add. Okay, they may not be documented husband and wife. Okay, but the scriptures say they become one flesh, meaning that woman, she belongs to that man.
They landed in a nice home in Frederick County, Maryland, in a community called New Market. But on August 25th, 2024, their plans to live happily ever after would be disturbed. The couple had put the kids to sleep, in which all three of Camilla's kids lived at the home at the time, also her and Sean's son. His other three girls lived with their mother. The couple went to their room and also fell asleep. When about 1:30 in the morning, somebody broke into the house. Sean was a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo and could definitely defend himself and the family, but asleep, he was helpless. The intruder crept up to the room that the couple shared and let off 42 shots before fleeing in a car. As the kids, all under 13 years old, heard the commotion, they were terrified and they all hid in the closet. The oldest told everybody they thought it was safe around about 7 a.m. When they came out, they saw their mother and Sean suffering from multiple gunshot wounds.
He didn't touch the kids, so they call it a crime of passion with 42 shots fired. This how you know that it was a spirit behind the tragedy, which was jealousy. Okay, that spirit of jealousy comes for one thing and one thing only. Okay, now can there be other spirits attached to this spirits more wicked that comes along with this spirit? Yes, but in this case, again, he didn't touch the kids. He didn't touch that man's kids. He knew those kids were in the house. Okay, he knew he could search the house to find them. Okay, I'm sure he probably searched the rooms and saw the kids there and didn't touch them. Then the kids went and hid. So that spirit came for one thing and one thing only. All right. Some people teach that the law of Moses is no longer a thing, but they do not break down how the spirit behind the law still manifests to this day.
And called local police, who responded to the home and were in shock at what they found. Over 40 shots had been fired at the couple as they slept, and unfortunately, neither would survive the ambush. As police searched the house, the only evidence that was found was that the intruder entered through the back, and there wasn't no motive or suspects. The community was in shock and confused. Who would want to hurt the couple and want them gone? As they got along with everyone and had no known enemies. As weeks went by, the community honored Sean and Crimea, showing their support and speaking on how great of a mother she was.
The way this woman is dressed in this image is not how a woman should dress. Women never dress for themselves. It's always to attract a man. So many times in a relationship, it's a man's duty to protect his woman on how she ought to dress. Because women are far more sexual than men. It's more a part of their identity. So again, these are things to think about in regards to the arguments David and Crimea had prior to their breakup. As we can see, this was an older photo of this woman dressed like this.
But police needed more details about her life. They would catch a break when everybody pointed to the fact she came out of a messed up marriage and had relocated her and her kids for a better life. Her friend told police her ex-husband had grew even more angry when she won custody. But David lived miles away, all the way in Miami, Florida. With that being their only lead, Maryland police reached out to police in Florida to start an investigation. They obtained a search warrant to search David's car and his home, and asked the man in the interview had he recently made a trip to Maryland, in which he stated no. But detectives had found proof he had indeed took the trip to Maryland just a month prior. David would soon be picked up on a beach in Fort Lauderdale, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, home invasion, and other charges.
So, who do I blame for this tragedy? In order from most to blame to least to blame. Number 1, I blame this flawed, wicked Babylonian system, which was invented to fragment black families and cause enmity between the black man and his woman, because you got to remember how much these Edomites lost when slavery was abolished. Okay? It goes much deeper than you think. Okay? Because they sought crafty counsel to compensate the black woman for divorcing her husband, and they make big business off the prison industrial complex, which incarcerates mostly black men. Okay? The Most High is going to judge these Edomites. All right? The scriptures say, prepare slaughter for their children, for the iniquity of their fathers. All right? And many of them are going to the lake of fire. It's written in the scriptures. Okay? You got to pay for your crimes. So that's number 1. I blame this justice system. Okay? It's flawed. Okay? They talk about championing protection for domestic violence, but they're hypocrites. Okay? They're the originators of domestic violence. The transatlantic slave trade was domestic violence. Hypocrites. But number 2, I gotta say it, Crimea is to blame. Okay, she was too selfish and it cost her her life. Okay, she had double obligations because she submitted to the wicked system. Okay, she put her trust in this system, and the scriptures say, cursed is he who puts his trust in man. One might say, well, what about David Turner? He committed double homicide. Well, he can be forgiven. He's still among the living, although he's incarcerated. But Crimea, her last breath on earth, she died in her sins, laying next to a man who was not her husband. All right? Let's keep it 100. Number 3, the men in this love triangle are to blame because both of them could have moved on to a better woman. This is proof also that a seducing spirit possessed Sean to have some type of attraction to her, which turned out to be a fatal attraction. Okay? This woman is 33 years old with children. I'm sure both of them could have done better considering how much baggage come along with this woman. Okay, and it cost Sean his life while he was asleep. And that's the worst way to go out. As for David Turner, I mean, yeah, the man had a lot invested, okay? As I said earlier, I believe her taking away his kids was the breaking point. All right, but he could have moved on to a better woman than her.
As of now, this case is still pending trial, and David is innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Crimea and Sean. I send my prayers and condolences to both families, and definitely the kids who heard the shots and had to wait in the closet and come out and witness all that. That's traumatizing.
There you go again, repeating the same old rhetoric. Rest in peace. I send my prayers and condolences. Dude, you can't send prayers. You actually have to take time out your day to intercede for whomever you're praying for. Otherwise, you're just repeating what everyone else says without giving much thought into what you're saying. You said, rest in peace. Okay, now you're speaking about afterlife stuff. Your channel doesn't cover the afterlife, so now again, you're speaking out of ignorance and being disingenuous. Does the scripture say there's any peace for a person who dies in their sin? No. So the best thing to say is I encourage you, the viewer, to pray for the children, that God blesses them with caretakers who fear the Most High, and that they remember the Most High the remainder of their days. And if God willing, I will try to remember them in my prayers. But if I don't do so first, please take time, you the viewer, to intercede on behalf of those kids. Okay, because the boy, the youngest, was barely a year old. He don't know anything. He's innocent. He's righteous. So Lord, have mercy on him the rest of his days. Don't let him become victim to the sins of his forefathers. That's what you say when you're actually giving the whole dilemma much thought, instead of just trying to get past your 8 to 10 minutes so you can be monetized on YouTube. Dude, you guys are hypocrites. All right, the Most High is going to judge you for everything that you speak and everything you hide in your heart. Okay, you submit to this feminist agenda, just speaking a bunch of vague innuendos. Okay, don't give much thought into what you say. Okay, you just roll along with the ship, the sinking ship. But anyway, that's all I have to say for this episode. Stay tuned, I got more coming. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.